Hi all. Today I would like to talk about the topic of religion, especially from a Buddhist perspective. Is Buddhism a religion? I think we have to look at the definition of religion, which is the belief in and support of a supernatural being or human that can grant access and wishes for the betterment of your life. Now, I know that's a crazy definition, but I pulled that out of Webster's, and that's pretty much the written definition as it stands right now for religion. And if we look at Buddhism in that context, I'm not sure if I would put Buddhism in that container. My own personal definition of a religion is anything that you support or believe in for the betterment of your own day-to-day life. And in that respect, I think Buddhism could very much be a religion. We have to take into concept, though, exactly what Buddhism is trying to tell us. I think the fundamental principle of Buddhism is that we need to use our minds. We need to use the gift that we have, the brain, the mind, to better absorb and understand the environment into which we've been placed. I think if anything, Buddhism promotes a more conscious way of living. In other words, we don't just go through the motions blindly. We don't just accept everything as it comes to us and think that that is all there is to life. We've been given this wonderful gift of a mind in which we can determine right, wrong, concepts of right and wrong, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, and on some level, it's quite a gift. So how do we use that gift? Well, I think we have to become aware and conscious. Traditional Buddhism has always just asked us to be conscious, to be aware, to be present. Those are all very wonderful values, but it takes a little work to apply. In this modern day, as many years ago with Siddhartha, we can get sucked into the merry-go-round of life. We can be swept away and consumed by the day-to-day activities, requests, chores, friendships, relationships that we feel that we need to honor and be true to. I think, though, if we take a step back from that and take a bigger, more Buddhist perspective, we can still do those things, but we do it more mindfully. We do it with a presence and an awareness that adds a new dimension to just simple daily living. When considering Buddhism a religion, I believe if we return back to the definition of the belief in gods or God, it does fall apart a bit because Buddhism simply talks to us about using our minds, being present, and being aware. And I think the means for which we do that is not necessarily a religion. I think it's more like common sense. I think when we awaken in the morning, we should be appreciative of the day, another opportunity to rise, to see, to be, to do. I think when we go to bed at night, we should be appreciative for a well-lived day. And I think the cycle starts over the next day when we awaken and start a new day. Again, appreciation is a fundamental belief in Buddhism, and I think that we just don't appreciate enough in this life. I also think that we live in a society which tends to lead us to more negative aspects of viewing the world. Problems have to be solved, religion, politics, name the problems, and I think that's not true. I think for the larger part of us, we don't need to worry about death. We're all going to die, but it's not going to happen today necessarily or tomorrow. We just don't know. We can't worry about things that we have no control over. And I think that society as a whole has fell into that trap. And I think the answer for escaping that or getting out of that vicious circle is Buddhism or mindfulness. And I don't think of that as a religion. I think of that as a practice, something each of us can do, something each of us can obtain. I don't think it takes a lot of effort to simply become more present to your life, to be aware, to come off autopilot, to look at others and not see what needs to be fixed, but see what's beautiful about them. To look at life and not see the problems, but to see the opportunities we have. These are all mild shifts in our perception, but the changes that they bring with them are pretty large. So Buddhism is more of what I consider a practice of mindfulness and attention with the gift of understanding. So when we focus our attention on our moments, our days, the people we are involved with, the opportunities we may receive, the challenges we will all have to face in this life, when we approach that with a more mindful, conscientious, and aware attitude, we become empowered to embrace that moment, no matter what happens. We become able to see the lessons from, we'll call them our failures, but I prefer to say we will see the lessons from our attempts and we will reap the benefits from simply trying. So when we think of Buddhism as a religion, you can make it a religion by all means. But I think in the traditional definition or sense of the word of religion, that Buddhism is more of a set of practices and a way of living versus something we worship. Because as the Buddha taught many, many, many years ago, we can all be a Buddha. We can all be present, we can all be aware, and we can all change this world one thought at a time. Going to keep it short today, folks. Just think on that for a little bit. As always, peace and love, Jim.